Hello friends and welcome to my channel Iballdesigningdeveloper. So like you all know that previously we have covered up many of the things using C++ and I hope you enjoyed all the previous videos which we have covered up yet. So in this video I will be telling you about constructors in C++, like when we are using constructors, so how to use it and what's the purpose to use constructors in C++. So I'll be telling you all the things about constructors, and if you understand this video and if you enjoy this video from start of this C++ tutorial here, so remember to hit a like to this video, and if you're new on this channel, want to see more videos like that, so remember to subscribe, and after subscribing hit notification bell as well so you can get the notifications of all my coming up videos which I'll be uploading on this channel. And remember to share this video as well so more people can learn and they can understand if we are working with constructors in C++, or how we can start with that. So now what we are waiting for, let's move to computer screen and let's get started. So now here we on the computer screen, and like I've told you that in this video I'll be telling you about what are constructors in C++ if you are starting with that. So if we talk about constructor, so a constructor in C++ is a special method that is automatically called when an object of a class is created. Like if I am creating an object of a class, so for that I will be calling a constructor, which is a special method here. So to create a constructor you have to use the same name as you used in class and followed by parenthesis. Like normally when we use a class here, so we use same name in class and we can create, or we have to create parenthesis with that, so like that we can also create a constructor. Like if I want to create a constructor, so for that I'll be using the same method which I used to create a class with parenthesis, class my class, which is a class name which we have added here, and the access specifier which we are adding here is public. And then after that we are adding a constructor which is my class. You can give any of the name to your constructor as the class name as well, and you can give any different name as well, but remember when you're writing any different name of your constructor, it will be same as the class name which you are writing, because if you are writing a different class name and a different constructor name, so the output which you will be getting in your terminal will be having an error. So that's why the constructor name and the class name should be same as you are defining, and you have to use parenthesis as well to define a class and a constructor. And then if we talk about the middle thing, which is access specifier, so I'll be not moving on that because in next coming up video I'll be telling you about access specifier in detail, and I hope you'll be enjoying that what is access specifier. But in this video we'll be learning about constructors, so we'll be moving on that. So just remember this my class which I'm adding after the class name will be called as constructor, and when we are defining a constructor, so we have to add parenthesis with that so that we can get good output, or we can get perfect output which we are adding in the constructor printed. If we are not doing that, so you will be getting an error in your output. Then you have to define the constructor name in your main class as well, so that we can call this function and we can get the output which I am getting. It is not a constructor which we are calling, it's a class, because the class name is also same as constructor. So that's why you need to define the class name here in the main class so that you can call this class and you can get the output which you are writing in the constructor which is defined in the class. Then if we talk about constructor parameters here, so constructors can also take parameters just like regular functions, which can be useful for setting initial values for attributes. The following class have brand, model and air attributes, and a constructor with different parameters. Inside constructor we set the attributes equal to the constructor parameter brand equal to x, etc. When we call the constructor by creating an object of the class, we pass parameters to the constructor which will set the value of the corresponding attributes to the same. It is just simply saying us that if I give you the summary of this text, so it's just defining that if you talk about constructor, so in constructor you can use parameters as well, because previously when we were just working with class methods, in which we have learned that when we are using class methods, so there are two methods to use it, inside function and outside function. So like that when we are starting with constructors, so in constructor as well we can use parameters like we were using in class method. So if you want to use class method, or sorry, if you want to use parameters in constructor, so you have to create normally a class, and after that you need to create normally a access specifier which will be given as public normally. And then in this I'll be creating a attribute. First attribute which I have created is string brand, second attribute is string model, and then third attribute which we have created is init air. This is a variable which we are adding here, and after this variable we are getting an attribute of air, or I am writing an attribute of air, and then we are adding constructor which is car, because as I told you that the class name should be same as constructor, so that's why I'm adding same class name as same constructor name. And then in this constructor, I'll be defining a parameter in which I have written 3 values. First is string x, second is string y, and third is init z, so that I can get 3 attributes printed perfectly with this constructor which we are using with parameters. And then I'll be defining these 3 constructor parameters which we have added here. And when we will be calling this class here in my main class, so we can get the output printed as these things which we are adding, x, y, and z. So this is the thing. So I hope you understand if we are using the like constructor with parameters, so how we will be getting the output. Then if I move down and if we see what is written here, so it is just saying us that just like functions, constructors can also be defined outside the class. First declare the constructor inside the class and then define it outside of the class by specifying the name of the class followed by the scope resolution operator followed by the name of the constructor which is the same as the class. So it is saying us that just when we use functions, so in that we use constructor which can be defined outside the class. Like normally in functions we define a outside class and inside class, so in that constructor as well we can define the outside class. We have to first of all declare a constructor inside the class, then we can define it outside of the class by specifying the name of the class, and it should be followed by a scope resolution operator like normally we use in functions. This is the example if you are defining a outside class, so how you can do that. So this is the thing which you can use here to define an outside class, and this is totally the thing which you can use. First of all you need to define all the things in your class with constructor, and after that you can print all the things in this main class so that you can get the output printed as you want. Like I want BMW X5 1999 and Ford Mustang 1969, these 6 things printed in the output. So I'll be getting this 6 things printed in the output because I am adding this init main in which we'll be adding all the things. So I hope you understand if we are working with constructors, so how we can start with that. So we will be using first example here which is followed by parenthesis, and we'll be understanding how we can do that practically. So I'll be copying this thing here and then I'll be simply moving on to Google Chrome and I will be just changing the title here. I'll be just adding here constructors in C++. So I'll be just adding like this, constructors in C++, and I'll be pressing enter so that I can just save this REPL here with the name of constructors. Then I will be adding include IOStream, which is the first tag of every C++ file which we create, and then after that I'll be writing using namespace std, then paste all the things which you have copied, and after pasting the first thing which we are adding here is class, and then after that access specifier, and the third thing which we are adding is constructor. And if you want to add parenthesis in constructor you can add it, but it's really important to add parenthesis. If you're not adding it, so you'll be getting an error. So remember to add parenthesis, and the choice is that like you can say it's option to add parameters inside your constructor if you want to add, so you can add it. If you don't want, so just leave it empty, but remember to create parenthesis if you're not adding parameters as well. So it's really important to do. After adding this thing you need to create a parenthesis, means curly parenthesis, and after that with this curly brackets you need to add a thing which you want to be printed in your console. So I want this hello world should be printed in my console, that's why I've added this hello world in my constructor, and normally we have used class and access specifier as well. So if I want to print this constructor or print this class so that I can get this hello world in the output, for that I will be creating another class of init main in which I'll be calling my class, and after calling this class name I will be also calling my object so that I can create an object of my class, and this will call the constructor. So the constructor which we are adding is my class, so that's why the class name and the constructor name should be same, and it will be normally creating an object of my class and it will be calling the normally constructor, and in constructor we have written a tag which is hello world, so it will be printed in my output, and you have to also return the value as 0 so that you can get the output printed perfectly. Now what I'm going to do is simply I'll be running it after pressing this run button, and after pressing this run you can just see we are getting this hello world printed, means that all the things are working and we are getting our constructor printed in my output. So I hope you understand if we are starting with constructor, so how we can do that and how we can get the output if we are just writing anything in constructor. So now we'll be starting with constructors parameter here. So I'll be copying this all thing which we have added so that we can get the constructor parameters printed, which is BMW X5 1999, Ford Mustang, and 1969. These are the 6 values which we have added in our constructor so that we can get these all objects printed with constructor with different values. So what I'm going to do is I'll be moving on to Google Chrome again, and I'll be pasting all the things. Remember, do not remove the starting things here. After doing this thing, I'll be running it, and after running, you can just see we are getting 6 things printed like we want. And I hope you understand how we are getting these things printed, because I'm adding these 3 things, which is BMW X5 1999 in one line, and in second line we have added Ford Mustang 1969. If I show you here, you can just see in class object 1 we have added these 3 things, and in class object 2 we have added these 3 things. That's why we are getting first of all the thing which is BMW X5 and 1999. Remember, when you are adding any integer value, you don't have to define these colons here, but if you are writing any string value, like any value with the alphabet, so you have to add this string before and after the value which you are adding. But if you're writing any number or any integer value, so you don't have to define anything like this quotes or anything like that, because it will be then printing as a string. So we don't want that our integer should be printed as string, so I'll be defining the numbers as an integer. And these are the print values which we will be using, which is count car object 1. So this is the car object 1 which we will be printing, and this is the car object 2 which we will be printing with brand, because brand is our class name. If I show you here, so this is our string attribute name, which is brand, and the second attribute name is model, third is air. So first of all, we'll be defining the first string name, which is brand, and after that we have also defined the third attribute name, which is air here. If I show you, so like that you can just use these things, and you can use parameters to get the output when you're using constructors in C++. So I hope you understand if we are using class and constructor, so how we are using it and how we can use constructors with parameters so that we can get perfectly the output like we are writing in parameters here. Now moving on to the third thing, if I just show you here, which is an example when we are using outside constructors here. So you can use here like this. I'll be copying this thing here, and I'll be moving on to my Google Chrome, and same as I'll be just selecting this, and I'll be pasting it in the place of it. So now all the things are same, but difference is that we are using a different way to print these 6 things which we have already added. But if I run here, so same output you will be getting printed here. You can just see we are getting same output, but if I show you the difference, we are adding brand equal to X here, which is a definition outside the class, model equal to Y, and air equal to Z. So this is the thing which we have added, and this is the difference between parameters, like if we are using constructor with parameter and if you're using constructor definition outside the class, so how you can do that. So these are the things which we can use. So I hope you understand if we are using constructors in C++, so how to use it. Normally when we use functions, so we use outside and inside class, so like that we can do that in constructor as well. So if you have understand this video and if you enjoy this tutorial of constructor, so remember to hit a like to this video, and if you're new on this channel, want to see more videos like that, so remember to subscribe, and after subscribing, hit notification bell as well, so you can get the notifications of all my coming up videos which I'll be uploading in future. So just you can check out my all the previous videos as well which I have uploaded. So I'll be meeting you next project. So for today, goodbye.